There has been one thing that Blue Jay fans have been begging for all season long, and that is the firing of general manager Ross Atkins. But for the time being, the Blue Jays are allowing Ross Atkins to manage critical decisions at this upcoming trade deadline. But surely, at the end of this season, the Toronto Blue Jays must let Ross Atkins go for turning what was a promising roster into a complete disaster, right? Well, according to some baseball insiders, they believe that Ross Atkins might not be going anywhere. And if Ross Atkins stays for one more season, Blue Jay fans might see their worst nightmares become reality. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. In this one, we're going to be discussing the uncomfortable reality that the Blue Jays might hang on to Ross Atkins for one more season and why that would be a horrible mistake. Before we get into it, though, I encourage you guys to hit that like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today if you enjoy Blue Jays news and content. TSN's baseball insider Steve Phillips joined Overdrive yesterday to express why he thinks Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro deserve another chance. I wanted to share with you this Overdrive clips of Steve Phillips explaining his reasoning on why he thinks they deserve another year.
They've made the playoffs in 3 of the last 4 years. You know, if I were to say to you, people you're going to bring in are going to make the playoffs in 3 of the next 4 years, you'd be like, okay, that'd be great. I'd love them. Give us a chance to try to get to the postseason. That's what these guys have done. And so if you're okay with that, then you should be okay with them. And so
while I can't argue with the simple fact that this Blue Jays team has made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 seasons, I can argue that this Blue Jays team currently is not the same as before. During the years of 2021 and 2022, you saw a team that won 90 games and only made postseason once, which was okay because Blue Jay fans got to see the potential that this Blue Jays roster had. In 2022, they were tied for 2nd in team OPS and had a mid-pitching staff ranked 15th in ERA. And at the time, the Blue Jays payroll was $192 million, and it was clear that they were ready to spend big to improve that pitching staff. But as we know, Ross Atkins decided to go in a much different direction. While they did sign Chris Bassett and an injured Chad Green for long-term deals, they decided to trade away some big parts of their offense, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez, and bring in defensive specialist Dalton Varsho and reliever Eric Swanson. And this was a huge shift in mentality that would eventually curse the Blue Jays down the road. And while the run prevention strategy worked in 2023, granted they were extremely healthy that year, it still wasn't good enough for getting them that playoff win. And now the big mistake this season in 2024 is the Blue Jays decided to rely on their core, and they were hoping for some major bounce backs, but what Ross Atkins didn't account for is that there would be some major regression as well. While you had some players that would step up like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and an unexpected breakout from Spencer Horwitz, other key players would regress like George Springer, Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, Kevin Gausman, and many, many more. So yes, while Ross Atkins has built successful teams in the past, this current Blue Jays team that he's built moving forward doesn't look like a sustainable one. And another argument that Steve Phillips makes is that Ross Atkins will learn from his mistakes and make the necessary adjustments this offseason, meaning he thinks that they're going to be looking for more outside help to improve this roster for next year. But I just don't see how the Blue Jays have the capability of bringing in multiple impact players. The Blue Jays have already spent the most money in franchise history, spending over $230 million on player payroll. And while they will have $40 million coming off the books, that still won't give them enough to get them over the edge. I don't see how they could possibly add a few impact bats, a starting pitcher, and a couple bullpen arms to get this team back to contention. However, the one thing the Blue Jays could do is rely on the next wave of prospects that the Blue Jays have built up in the last few years. But by the looks of it, this front office has failed to acquire that talent. Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins have preached that they want to build a sustainable winning team for the long haul. However, they've only built a farm system that is ranked 24th in all of baseball. And based on their recent draft history, they haven't had a lot of success in there either. So not only are the Blue Jays looking like they can't add the necessary bats in the offseason, but they also don't have the reassuring wave of future talent either. And many fans, including myself, would like to see somebody else grab the wheel of this sinking ship and salvage whatever parts we may have left. Because other than some winning seasons, this Blue Jay team hasn't won a single playoff game since 2016, and it's time to get somebody else in charge. And if they don't decide to part ways with Ross Atkins, I think the Blue Jays have a whole other problem on their hands. Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content. I can't go one finger scroll on Twitter while the Blue Jays are losing without seeing Blue Jay fans upset and blaming Ross Atkins for the failure of this team. If Ross Atkins stays in 2025, I can almost guarantee that Blue Jay fans aren't going to react very nicely. One thing is for certain though, Ross Atkins will be handling this team at the upcoming trade deadline, and based on who he buys and who he sells, could show the Toronto Blue Jays plan for their general manager in 2025. But guys, you let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always guys, go Jays go.